What is up, people? Thank you for joining us on Real to Real, where real talk and real debate will lead to real solutions. And as we all know, we definitely need some solutions within our community, and that's what we're here to discuss. So first of all, before I get into the topic, I would like to introduce our guest, our esteemed guest, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to introduce the in-studio audience, and then I'm going to go around. I'd like to introduce my boy, Tafari Yuma, former co-worker. Thank you for joining us, my brother.
Oh, likewise. Thank you for joining me.
My cousin, Edwin Foltz. Thank you for coming out.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here.
And now, ladies, if you would please introduce yourself. Kat.
Hi, my name is Kathleen. Everybody calls me Kat. I live here in Little Elm, Texas, and I am a dancer. I was former dancer for the Dallas Cowboys.
Nice. Some good credentials. Okay. Miss Adrian, please introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Adrian Signator. I'm a software engineer for the government.
Oh, nice.
Glad to be on the call.
Glad to have you.
Glad to have you.
Miss Selena, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Selena?
Yes, it's Selena. That's correct.
How you doing, my sister? Please introduce yourself.
I'm doing well. Hi, again, my name is Selena, and I'm originally from Dallas, Texas. I live here in New York City, and I have a music industry background, so.
Oh,
great.
Boy, it's a lot of interesting stuff going on in your neighborhood.
This will be real interesting for her.
And my CPA, and hopefully one day yours as well, Mr. Byron Whitaker. Byron, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Byron Whitaker. As David so graciously introduced me, I am CPA here in Dallas, Texas. I service, well, actually pretty much all of U.S. because of virtual. We're able to touch everyone. So, yeah, so come see me.
Thank you. And Mr. Turner, please introduce yourself, sir.
Thank you for the intro. This is Oran Turner. I come from I was born and raised in Oklahoma, but I live in Los Angeles, California, and I work in the film and television industry.
Imagine that.
Welcome.
Welcome, my brother, in LA, in the film industry. Okay. Thank you all so much for joining us. This is a panel group, a compilation, and this ought to be really interesting. So the topic for discussion, you know, the overarching topic is music then and now. So there are a couple of us here that represent the then part, and there's a couple of you ladies that represent the now. So I appreciate you being here again. You know, the centerpiece of the discussion, because we want to discuss how music, the influence that it has on our communities, and has had for a long time, and the change in that music. And the song, you know, this kind of the centerpiece of this is Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion, you know, as it's so titled, WAP. So it's just giving us an opportunity to focus on the music industry and where it's turned to and the influence that it's having today. So what I would like to start with the ladies, because I classified this type of situation as root cause, okay? You know, the music, the influence, the behavior, you know, that particular pattern. So I would like to start with the ladies, and I will start with you, Kat. What is your thoughts, you know, on this song, and whatever you have to offer on what influence or impact you think it may have, you know, on the community and especially on females?
Well, to be honest with you, I don't see a problem with the song. I actually like it. I know that the lyrics are, you know, provocative, but I'm listening to the beat of the song. I'm listening to the music and just, you know, to groove with it and not so much the lyrics. But I can understand why it will be an influence on the community because of the lyrics, but I'm not listening to that as much. I'm just listening to the beat and how I can dance with it.
Okay, that's interesting. Adrian, please.
Well, I don't know if I'm representing the then or the now. As far as the music, I'm not sure where I fall.
I'm not putting you in any category.
My look on it is a little different. I enjoy the song. I like the song, but that song is for a mature an audience. these days the kids have more access to music like that than we did. Social media makes it accessible. So it's for a mature audience. Yes, we like the song, but it is playing a bad influence on our younger teens. Not that they're going to read into it the wrong way, but they are if they don't have the parents in place to educate them correctly. So I do feel it's playing on our system, especially our young girls. I mean, the song comes on with "There's some hoes in this house." So it opens up the song with "There's some hoes in this house," and the song basically telling you how to get your money, use your body to get what you want. Those people that are mature can appreciate it because we like the song. It's not necessarily how we listen to it, but we're mature. When you have a 12 or 13-year-old girl thinking this is what she needs to do to get her husband, then it poses a problem. Again, I feel like it comes down to the parent. Parenting is everything. It's up to you as a parent to filter what your children hear and educate them on what they hear and what they should take from what they hear. You can't be every place at every time, but I know in my house when I grew up, what I listened to and what I said, my parents knew, and they observed and they monitored. So you can't shelter the child from everything. Everything is out there. Social media is so open now. So as a parent, it's going to be up to them to educate their child correctly.
I got you. I follow you. I like it. Selena, please.
So I'm going to be honest. I really don't like the song, and not because of the lyrics per se. It's just, to me, it's just not a great song. Something in general, I'm not really a fan. But I would like to say that, piggyback on Adrian, what Adrian said, like, it's really not their responsibility to raise our children. It would be great if, all the music was all lovely, but again, right now there's so many options, and I think it's just unfortunate that those songs are in the forefront. We have artists like Rhapsody that has so many great lyrics and speaks so positively, but no one buys into that. So they're basically doing what the media buys into, what people buy into. Because even if you don't like the song and you're playing the song multiple times a day to tell your friend how much you don't like the song, it's now a number one song now. Yes. So you have to think about that. And also it's I grew up on different songs. I mean, Luke, Adina Howard, this is absolutely nothing new. Right. It's just a different type of artist that's saying it, but pretty much it's the parent's responsibility. And even if it's not a parent, some type of village responsibility to, influence the children. We should not rely on entertainers to influence, because even the most positive entertainer at some point may do something wrong and may influence your child. So you can't look to entertainment.
But we do.
Yeah, they are not role models.
That's one thing. Yeah, she's absolutely right. We shouldn't rely on them, but we do. And that's true. But what I just heard, what I can't understand is that this music has become a part of our culture. And that's a huge problem. And if no one sees that, because I talked to my brother Dave last night, and in my generation, we had music. There was Millie Jackson who, had her raunchy records. And
she was mentioned.
They were, Dolomite who had his records, but there was a place for all of that. And as we see, there's no dividing line in our generations. What your daughter is doing at maybe 21, you're doing the same thing at maybe 49, and that's just true, so when we look at the culture that, like she just said, Luke done it, and it built a culture. Now look what we have. You don't look at these young men out here. I mean, really, look how and you constantly say that they don't respect women, because we teach them not to respect women.
Exactly. It's in the music.
We teach them not to do that. So, I mean, and I'm one of the ones who haven't heard the song, haven't looked at the video, and probably not going to hear the song and look at the video, because that's just not something I'm into. Okay. But you're right. It's a whole gang of people around at my job. Everybody's talking about it. And yes. To me, that's just not right, especially all the situations that we deal with in our community. And this is what we're talking about.
Okay, well, we're back to the root cause analysis. Mr. Turner, I'm going to get to you in just a second, because Mr. Turner, you as a single father, talk to me.
Yeah, so, it's funny. This topic was brought up just as a hypothetical. I was having a conversation with my daughter's uncles. And the question was, how would you feel, or how would I feel if I walked in and I heard my daughter listening to this song? And, at the end of the day, everyone's right. It's not up to the entertainers to, raise our children. That's our responsibility. But the thing that I cringe about with this song in particular, I get it. For a mature audience, fine, we could be entertained by this. Child listening to this gets it from this to, basically sell her body to be a possession of a man. If I had a young boy, the opposite of that would be, to own a woman, and for sex. And that's not something I think my children should be, my child should be programmed with in this medium. And I could say, well, maybe I could try to keep her or block her away from this. But like you said on the call earlier, getting this from so many different directions. So I just don't feel like this is the type of influence that we should have, especially from like Cardi B. She's had so many other good hits, and I find it a little bit ironic that I was watching a video of Cardi and her husband and her baby girl singing Frozen. So you talking about, you talking about WAP on one side and you singing Frozen with your little girl. So we portray this out to, our kids, but their kids will go to private schools and live the good life. I don't, so it's a mixed bag. We're trying to raise the culture, trying to raise our people. We're trying to be woke and understand who we are as a people. And I just find like this is like 2 steps forward and then 10 steps back. That's kind of how I feel about that.
Amen.
Okay.
Amen.
Yeah. Amen. And we're going to get, expound upon that point as well, and something else that you said, Kat, as well. Now, Byron, what's your thoughts?
So I personally, physically, and musically like WAP. Okay, this is gonna be honest.
Not a problem.
And so I look at this as this is just art. It is nothing more than art. I think their wordplay is very talented in the way that they put these words together. Obviously, it's for for mature audiences, and I get that. But as Mr. Turner indicated, you see them singing Frozen with their daughter, and then they put this out. They are acting. So I equate this to no different than when I was 14. I used to watch Friday the 13th, and Jason was going around hacking people. Why did that? To me, it was that cinema was a form of art, but I didn't grow up becoming a mass murderer and wanting to try, imitate what I saw. So why? Because I had parents that kept me grounded. So I understood something from artwork or science fiction that's not real to what's reality. Now I get there's a blended mix. Now it's hard, because what they're talking about is very prevalent of what's happening in today. But it is the parents' responsibility if they're teaching, hey, this is just art. At the end of the day, this is just art. It's a different type of art. It's dark art, but it's art. That's all it is at the end of the day. These people are acting.
Okay, that's going to a point that Adrian made, Selena, and you as well, Kat, and I'm going to address that in just a second. Ed, what's your thoughts?
My personal opinion on I do not like it. Reason being,
because you have 3 daughters.
Right. One youngest said it's the beat, and that's why our community is where it's at today. We're not listening to the message. All we're concerned about is, long as it's a good beat, whatever the message is delivered, is putting out there, who cares? But however, put myself, I'm a then, not a now. So when I look at young black men and they're listening to this, say I go out and I start a business. My business now is, hey, I'm going to start a business so I can make a lot of money and get rich, because you know what? The women are telling me, I don't need to respect them. Long as I got a lot of money and I can pay their bills and everything, I can have them do whatever I want them to do. So it's the culture. It's not about respect. I don't have to respect a woman anymore. Long as I'm successful, and that's how these young men gonna look at it. My job is not to build my community up anymore. My job is to get rich so I can get all this money so I can go get women like that. Because that's all they care about is, hey, long as you pay my bills, you got a lot of money, this is what you can do, and this is what I'm going to do for you. And he made a good point. My problem with it, you write lyrics like this, but at the same time, I can see you on a show, political show, talking about how you want to be respected. How do you think I'm supposed to respect or believe in anything you're saying when I'm looking at what you're writing? Oh, well, that's entertainment. I get it. That's entertainment. That's your personal business. That's how you make your living. But to me, what that's saying is, hey, a dollar outweighs everything.
Okay.
My self-respect means nothing long as I'm getting paid.
Okay. So I'm going to go back around the horn, Kat. I'm going to come back to you, Kathleen. I'm sorry. I just heard your name first time as Kat. Now, you said something that's been supported by Byron, by both of these gentlemen, that the beat, you're doing your thing, as a dancer and everything. The beat is the most important thing to you, the rhythm. We're rhythmic people, okay? You know what I mean? So the lyrics, as you said, you were kind of dismissing. Now, my cuz made a point, and so did everybody else about the lyrics. As a female, where I'm going with that is, and I'm going to come to Selena and Adrian here next. As a female, what it says to us in our mind as men, and how it programs us, which was what has been discussed. How are we supposed to treat or address or approach you as women when this, and again, like you said, it goes back to Luke, it goes back to Adina Howard. MC Light said, I want a roughneck all the way back, in the early 90s.
Said, it's very, very influential.
Yeah, so you are right, Selena. This is nothing new. But how do we approach, how do we dismiss that and see you differently?
Okay, well, first of all, grown men should know that it's a song and it's not real life, and they should know the difference.
I got you.
True.
Right. Know that.
And I should not have I'm not going to talk to any guy. Like, I'm married now, but if my husband comes across me and says this and this and this, I'm like looking at him sideways, like, come on, this is not a TV show. This is not a music video. This is life. Like, so you have to approach me with some common sense.
But this is
okay. Good point. Right.
You have a generation of young men and young women out there who are not you. I mean, and like I keep saying this, it is heavily influential. And for anybody to think that, okay, we understand that it is entertainment. Okay, we understand that, right? But if any one of you guys really don't believe that this has a direct effect on our community, something's wrong with you. And I'm just being honest with you. I have young people that work for me, okay? They can't run together a sentence without putting a rap verse into it, okay? They can't say anything without telling me some rapper said this. If you want to sell something, give it to a rapper and tell him to give it to the kids, okay? So for you guys to really think that this isn't influential in a major, major way, something's wrong. And this is just the tip of the iceberg, trust me, because this will take us down a dark road that none of us want to go to and talk about. Because when it comes to, and I'm going to just be honest with everybody, okay? She just harped on it about grown men. What you women don't understand is that us men are animals just like the other animals out there, okay?
Right.
All right? And look, we can't control ourselves, okay? We just can't. Now, within the the parallels of the laws and respect and all the admiration that we have from our parents and our sisters, and we try to, but when you walk down the street and you half naked, what do you think that does to a man? And I mean, I'm talking about chemically. What do you think that really does to a man?
Okay, let me get an answer to that. Adrian, I'm coming to you again, and Selena, you are next. Okay, now what Kat said, I got it. A grown man is supposed to know the difference, and Byron said it as well. We are supposed to know the difference, but from the younger generation, they're not grown yet. Hopefully, they will see that difference. But do you think it has that deep and lasting of an influence on your behavior in relationships and how we proceed?
Absolutely. I'm a 70s child. I'll tell my age. I'm in my late 40s. Right. So I do believe how you present yourself is how you're going to be talked to, approached, and treated.
Amen. True.
You present yourself like a husband, you're going to be treated like a husband.
Mm-hmm.
Present yourself like a lady. There's a way to be sexy and be approachable and still be respectful. I consider myself to be able to go out and be business casual, and I can still be sexy, but I wouldn't wear anything out that I wouldn't wear in front of my parents. So there's a line. So like you said, you're right. When you walking down the street and we have naked, your chemical imbalance is going to react to that because you are.
Exactly. And it just kills me that like grown adults don't really understand that, I mean, the problem with us as human beings that we enjoy sex. You know, when you talk about every other animal out there, you'll take some lion and he'll sleep with a lioness. He might not never see her again. We enjoy it, okay? That's our problem right there, okay? And like I said, the chemical imbalance that is in a man, you cannot take a young child, which is 12 or 13 years old, and leave her around certain men.
No,
you can't do that. You cannot do that because men are very, very unique, okay?
I got a lot of ammunition for that, man.
You guys don't understand that we very unique. It's very, very shaky when it comes to us, you know, and most of it is chemically, okay?
Yeah. Selena?
So are you saying
go ahead,
that this
Adrian,
song
I'm
is
sorry.
affecting the guys more? So when you're saying that it's influencing our community, are you saying it's influencing the little boys more or the little girls more?
No. Overall, the community. Overall, the community. Because listen to this: when you destroy a boy, you don't get a man.
True.
And I hear a lot of black women out there say this all the time. That there's no good men out there. The men are this and the men are that. Guess what? You're right. There aren't any out there because we destroy them as boys.
And that goes to both
them.
of us. So, Adrian, Adrian, you agree with that? I'm going to let you finish your comment, and I'm going to Selena.
And also, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just said I agree with that because this millennium generation we have, we are breaking a lot of young men and a lot of young women because we're raising a lot of Carly B's and we're raising a lot of Waka Flockas. That's what we raising. So that generation of communication, but social media has been a huge part of that. So I agree with you saying it is dampering our community, but it's coming from all angles. Music just happens to be one of them. You got movies, you got politics, you got, I mean, it's everywhere.
I'm going to address that as well.
All this stuff has been around from the beginning of time, right?
Right.
This just didn't start now. This didn't, so I disagree. I don't think that these people have any social responsibility at all. But their main
no one said they had any social responsibility.
Yeah.
That's it.
No, you have to understand that this is right now, the way social media now, the way they make it so accessible and they can feed it into these children's minds and their habits, we didn't have that back then. If you didn't have a cassette tape or a good CD player, you wasn't hearing shit.
Exactly.
Right now, you got a phone, you got a TV, you got the internet, you got everything.
Yeah.
And just
I have no responsibility as an artist, I have no responsibility to your
You're
children.
absolutely right. You are 100% right. They don't have any responsibility.
All right.
I'm not saying you have a responsibility.
So you got to look at it from the artist standpoint. As an artist, my job is what can I move as many units as possible to put money in my pocket, and that's their mentality.
And that's
what I
fine.
just
We
said.
totally
It's about the
understand
money.
that. However, but we're talking about our community supporting this artist. You can go out there and push shit carts up and down the street if you want to. That's fine. If people pay for that, that's cool. Okay. However, it's destroying us.
Okay. Selena.
So first, that's a lot. It's a lot to right here.
We're sorry.
I'm like, what? Okay. First and foremost, I want to say that I do believe that the song does have an impact. Now, I have nieces and nephews. So when I see that something may have an impact, it's my job to intercept that. It's my job to intervene. It's my job to say, hey, you're listening to this. Let me show you something better. Let me show you. That is what is. There's always, whether it be a song, whether it be a movie, whether it be a commercial, whether it be someone at your child's school that may have a closer influence than a song that Cardi B wrote. And I just want to piggyback, make the point that Cardi B, when she talked about this song, she said she had released several other songs, a song called Be Careful. And guess what? Nobody cared about that. So
what does that mean? Nobody cared about it? Zero revenue, right?
So what that says to her is, in order for her to make money, this is what the people wanna buy.
Give them what they want.
You have to think,
and that's fine too. We're not against anybody making any money.
Let her finish.
I want to finish my thought here.
Go ahead.
Okay, so also you mentioned that men are animals and they can't control themselves, and it's an imbalance. Okay, so what that says too, if you're telling a boy that, he's gonna think that I have no control over myself. When someone is walking down the street, I have a right to say this and that to her because it's my animal instinct. This is in me. I cannot control. That has a bigger effect than this song. Someone that I know, a parent, or someone, a peer telling my son or telling a child that he has no control over the way he acts based off what a woman is wearing. We got to stop that. That's more important. So I think
I think you took that the wrong way.
Well, even if I took it the wrong way, what I heard was, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that we have an imbalance and we cannot control ourselves.
Because I disagree with that statement. I can control myself.
There are a lot of people.
And what I said was within the parallels of. Go ahead.
Let me just finish. Okay. When I walk down the street, I live in New York City.
Right.
I could be wearing whatever, okay? And it's annoying. It's annoying to me. I could be wearing a business suit. I could be dressed in a sheet over my head. And I guarantee you, because a man can control himself, he feels the obligation to tell me, oh, you need to smile or you need to do this. I could have just lost a parent, but do you think they care? So what I'm saying is that we got to teach our kids better. And I think that is our responsibility, just to intercept. Like when you see your child going the wrong way, or even if you see a child that's doesn't even belong to you or in your family, just say, hey, listen, let me show you this and let me show you that. So I think that's just a cop-out.
You are absolutely right. And what you just said just make my point. Like you said, you can't walk down the street without somebody saying something to you. So that just lets you know my point exactly. You're right. It's hard to control us. However, when it comes to music like this and the culture that we live in, how are you going to get next to a young man?
But let me just tell you this.
Look what we're competing against.
Down the street coming from church and you still can't control yourself. What does it matter whether I have a bikini on or if I have on a church outfit? It doesn't really matter. What you're saying to me doesn't really matter. So you guys have to put that in check. Check yourself.
Okay. That does take a family and parents. So, Mr. Turner, you got a young daughter.
Sir.
I'm sure you're like me. We got plenty of ammunition for fellas like that, if necessary. Right. Okay.
I don't miss. So there was something.
You go to target practice every day.
I could pull those out too. But one thing came to mind that just popped in my head as I was listening to everyone. One of the things I think also this is kind of hitting us is this song actually is us. We have a large percentage of our people, of our culture, that this actually represents. And we at this moment in time where we have the world attention on us for all the right for the wrong reasons, but they're spawning the right reasons in this movement. And here we are talking about how we basically treat our women like shit and just own them, and women can act like hoes. We're pronouncing that there's hoes in this house, so that kind of hits the nerve as well, because it's like, damn. We're supposed to be proud people, and we're supposed to be, people that we can represent ourselves and carry ourselves in such a way that it doesn't get this negative attention. We're getting shot, killed by the police, and we have situations like this. So it's multifaceted. I completely agree about the parenting, but another thing that I want to touch on, and mind you, when I say our culture, this is us. This is we are. This is what our children are being programmed with. This is the generation that was above them. And so we got basically two generations where this is representative. And the more we go down this line, I mean, if you look at the songs from the 80s to the 90s to the 2000s, 2010s, you'll see, because I got them up here on my screen, you'll see that the format, the themes,
how raunchier they get over the years,
have got progressively worse. And I'm like, man, that was a banger. That was, and none of those songs I'm looking at as a top 20 even remotely come to the cringe mode that I have right now when I'm listening to some of the music that's on the airways right now. So it's a combination thing. And then my last point is this: not all kids have parents. We still dealing with some of the highest incarcerations disproportionate to our race. Period. So you talk about single mom raising, multiple kids, working 2 jobs, not at home. So all their influence is coming from this. So if you're talking about better in the culture, better in the people, for those kids that don't have those parents or don't have those positive influence within their family structure, then they're going to get it from everywhere else, social media, music, videos, what have you, or the local gangs in the street. So it's a combination thing. And I just really can't chuck it up to entertaining, because looking at 30, 40 years back, we've been entertained for a long time. And a lot of the tops that I've listened to had nothing to do with this shit. Now, mind you,
you're absolutely right.
I like what WAP represents in my private life, in my bedroom, but that's about it. I don't need to bring this out to the world and you know, call it a day. So
man,
yeah, we have a responsibility.
Okay.
And let me
go ahead. And Byron, I'm coming to you next. Go ahead, folks.
You made a good point. The point I'm trying to make, which is exactly true, we see it here in our community as basically like your CPA saying, it's entertainment, so they don't have a responsibility. But however, when I used to live in Germany, I'm going to tell people, it's a big world out there. And unfortunately, when we write music and lyrics like that, the rest of the world don't see it that way. When I was in Germany, they thought everybody was Michael Jackson. They thought everybody lived like it based on what he was saying, what he was singing about. The rest of the world, we say, well, hey, that's cool, that's a good beat and everything, but how do the rest of the world build? So is that how black people are?
Exactly.
That's how y'all really treat y'all women?
Yeah, exactly.
That's how the rest of the world is seeing it. No matter what we think, yeah, we might know, hey, it's entertainment and all that, but the rest of the world don't see that. They see it totally different. They think that's real. That's your life. And that's how they view us as a race of people. Well, that's what they do. That's their life. That's how they treat their women. They don't know any different. They're not looking at the money you're making. It's entertainment. They don't see that. All they see is that's how you treat one another.
Perception is reality.
There you
go.
Byron, you made a point, and Selena, I want to kind of connect it to something that you said, since you know you're in the music industry, that you know, it's not real. And we know how many times, you know, we found out that they renting vehicles and diamonds. They don't own any of that stuff, you know what I mean? So Byron, you made the point earlier, and I want to give you an opportunity before we switch over just a little bit to a separate question. On that point, perception, because you had the Birth of a Nation, you know, Woodrow Wilson in the early days of Hollywood, that set the perception of us. And in a way, you know, like I said, it's not just this song, as you said earlier, Mr. Turner. You know, it's movies, it's other music, it's the ramping up from the '80s. So Byron, continue on your thought that they see it as entertainment. It's really not real, but so many of them are trying to live the lyrics.
Well, okay, so I'm going to speak personally because I came from the projects. Okay, so I seen, you know, what I, you know, from a standpoint, if you got to look at these people, what they're delivering, what is their background? We are not talking about PhD, Harvard graduated individuals. So, you know, Cardi came from the same background as me, from the gutter. So, you know, from what she's talking about is what she saw in her community. What the information that's input is what she's outputting, the delivery that she doesn't know. She came up stripping, right? Okay, so that's how she was able to get to the success that was a stepping stone. Some people go to, huh?
Right. No, go ahead.
No, we call it what it is. That was her school of education was stripping, the streets. So her music, what she's talking about, is what she was educated with. She went to Harvard graduate, so I don't expect to learn anything from that. The only thing I'm getting is entertainment. I don't turn to someone who is, their whole intention is just to entertain me, to try to learn something from that. And again, so that's where I think the misconception comes in.
I mean, that's fine too.
I follow you, and I know it's influential. So I want to move to another question, and I'm going to combine these two questions, and I want everybody to have input. You know, can we reverse or somehow change the trajectory of the influence and the effects? And can we, or can you think of a way that we can get them to appreciate more positive, you know, language in the music? Because as you said, Mr. Turner, and I'll let you do it too, I just want to list off a couple of groups, because in 1988 is when NWA came. And I know for those of you who can remember, before 88 when NWA came out.
Adrian, mute the phone.
I think he said mute the phone.
Oh, okay. So we were wearing, pastels, leather shoes. When we went out to party or whatever, we were creased, we were sharp, everything, the way that we operated. Once NWA came out, a couple of months later, that same brother was wearing a do-rag and was sagging. You know what I mean? It really didn't take that long. So, right, before then, we had Public Enemy, Eric B., you know what I mean? Cool Mo D, Will Smith, Run DMC, Salt and Pepper. So even though we were enjoying hip hop, it had a totally different meaning. So I'm going to start with Kat, especially again since you dance. And I imagine, like I said, music means a lot in your industry because it can determine, it's like when we're out, if you hear a good song, you getting up, right? So, okay. So do you think we can reverse this, or what do you think we can do about it? Is there a solution that you could offer?
Oh, the only solution that I think that we can do to reverse it is I feel like Beyonce just needs to get another influential song out. Put it on TikTok, put it on all the social media things, and kind of just drown this one out. When she did The Black is King, like I felt like that was amazing, but it didn't get as much publicity as this has right now. And it kind of just washed away that. So just taking back those moments, I feel like we can kind of reverse this a little bit. And I also feel like the pioneers that you mentioned before, like the rappers and from, in another generation, the 80s and the 90s, I really like them to actually come out more. I know that they did some battles and stuff on Twitter. I don't even have Twitter, but I heard about it through Selena and or Instagram or whatever it is. I don't even have Instagram, so heard about it through Selena. But I feel like them coming out more and having those battles, I feel like it would kind of influence this generation a little bit more too, to see like, hey, they're really positive people out there.
Okay,
I like that.
Okay,
Good answer.
I'm gonna get around to the panel. Jeff, give me a solution, man. Give me a solution.
I don't. It's going to take a long time for me to even think of a solution. But one thing that I will say is that I've heard this, and it seems to be true, that when you take the rap industry, what it has done in our community is it has extended the teenage years out to about maybe 31 to 32 years old. If you look at a 31, 32-year-old black man in 1960, he was well into raising his family, working at a union job, just raising a family. Like I said, I work with young people every day, and I have to explain to them that, look, I'm not James Brown old, okay? I'm like Eric B. and Rakim old. They don't understand the generation gap that we have. So it's just, if music is so influential in our community, we're going to have to try to use it a whole different way, because the fact of the matter is that it is hugely influential, okay? And I keep saying that because it is, okay? You have the parent listening to the same exact thing as the 14-year-old kid, okay?
Now they are.
Yeah.
They weren't before.
When we grew up, and even, I'm make this small. A black man in the 50s and the 60s, when they sung R&B, he expressed himself. No matter what he was doing, even if he was cheating on his woman, Billy Paul let you know, look, it was me and Mrs. Jones. He talked to you and explained himself. Some of them even poured their heart out. Today, it's easy for me to say, come here, bitch, put your pants down, I'm going to give you $1. All that's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy.
I agree. Selena, can you think of a solution?
Like I said before, it's just gonna take for me personally, my stance on things like that is that a lot of people say, oh, this can't be done and this cannot be reversed. I'm a person that people have told so many things could not be done. Like, I was raised by a single mother. I grew up in a not so good environment. All of my friends were pregnant, in the teenage years. I'm the first person in my family to ever leave the state to do anything. So I think we have to start there with our mindset first and say, yeah, we can reverse it. We can change. We can make an impact, and find out what you can do around you. Don't be one of those people that just sit up here and complain about things that are going on if you're not going to be a part of the solution, because there's always going to be, like I said, those influences in our kids' lives. And I just totally believe that we're going to have to, make it look just as cool to be, influenced by the wrong thing and put forth the cool thing. Like when Jay-Z said, okay, everybody's time to button up their, collars, everybody was like, oh, I don't want to wear this anymore. Or when Jay-Z said, oh, auto-tunes isn't cool anymore, everybody was like, oh, I hate auto-tunes. So it's just going to take those
how
people,
influential it is,
to step up and just say, hey, no more. But I think I believe in where we're going. I mean, I see so many young kids that are activists now who protest, who care about certain things. Like when I was growing up, I didn't necessarily see that from my generation. I saw it from the generation before me, and now I see it now. So I'm very hopeful in some of these kids. It's always going to be a bunch of bad apples and a bunch of men that are misogynistic and, treat women like crap. But I think I'm very hopeful.
Okay, man, I love it. Mr. Turner.
I kind of look at it like this. The rap game, just music in general, it's like, I kind of liken it to professional sports. And to become a professional sports athlete, you have to play high school. You have to play Little League. In Little League, so on, college, and then you go to pros. So when I look at where rap has gone now, when you have either, rappers talking about killing, shooting, selling bricks, that's the pros life of being a rapper. But how do you get there and have that street cred? You got to do that at the younger years. So when we look at it, maybe through that lens, it's like, okay, well, like I believe Selena was saying, we have to show them there's another revenue stream, there's another means, to get out of their situation, so that they don't have to go through the, the school of hard knocks to become, a famous female rapper or famous, male rapper, by doing all these things to get there like that. School seems to be less and less important, as far as like the cool thing to, to graduate and to do, especially when I see these young kids on social media. They're talking about shit that I wouldn't even, excuse my language, they talking about stuff that I wouldn't even begin to even understand. Why are you even going down that path? And the whole time they're speaking, you barely can form a word, and it's sad, but this then becomes the curriculum. This becomes the path. So we have to change that, at that level. And then last but not least, I think financially as a people, because we've, the systematic racism has been against us for so long, we need to really start looking at, the possibility of really what does reparations look like for our community? Because, now is the time that we should be going after that and being an activist for it. Because there's been so much that's been revealed to us in the last year that a lot of us had no clue about. So, it's a two-part approach, I think.
Okay, folks, what's your solution?
Back to the basics, I would say we need people that are willing to step out there and be more positive. We can make great beats and great songs with a positive message as well. Our community today, I feel that we are comfortable with taking the easy way. Hey, if all this is all I have to do to be successful is come up with some lyrics, say some B words and this and that's it. Well, that's all. Hey, that requires no work, no training, no nothing. It's just, I'm going to do it, and that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be successful. We need to start re-educating our kids that, hey, look, there is other ways. Yeah, music is great. They can be great role models, some of the rappers and stuff, but however, you still got to understand that you got to apply yourself. You still need to go to school. You still got to understand this is just entertainment. And it goes back to parents. There's a lot of kids that's growing up without parents, or some of them are pretty much the same age as their parents. I mean, we got kids raising kids, and that's why we have so many issues today. Exactly. I mean, you got your mama in the club or your dad in the club, exactly. and your son and your daughter is on the other side.
Yeah, no, you can do that when you're only about 15 years apart.
Exactly. So, but we can change it around.
Okay, Byron, I'm going to go to you, and I'm going to offer some closing remarks.
Okay, I'm going to go spiritual on you guys.
Okay.
One, if you keep your kid grounded in the word, they're going to know right from wrong, okay? And then two, to just tag on with what Anthony said, I do think that we need to educate our kids on there are multiple facets of professions that you can get in that is beyond rapping, playing a professional sport. You could be a doctor, a lawyer. I mean, there's so many things. You know, you could run an IT firm. You know,
CPA.
I just found out there are kids that are making millions of dollars just playing video games. They think they're
becoming coders.
Gamers.
Yeah, a lot of kids
becoming
coders.
So, you know, I think we just need to begin to introduce more to our youth of, you know, these are just the more that they can see, the more options that they know that they have to be other than I just want to put together some beats and rap, and then I'm the next star here. I think it starts with education. So both spiritually, and I think also educating them on the different things from a profession that are available to them.
Okay, that sounds great. So I'm gonna offer some thoughts on everything that I heard, and we're gonna get this wrapped up. And first and foremost, let me tell you, I really appreciate all of you joining me and everything that you offered to this show. The reason that we started this show, and Byron, you know this, and I just want all of you that joined us to know, I wanted this show and I called it Real to Real because I want the truth. We have to seek the truth. We have to seek better. And the only way to get the truth, you know, one of my big things is critical thinking. We have to teach our kids how to process the thinking process, how to reach different conclusions about different things. What's fact? What's fiction? And that includes, as you said, Kat, you know, you need a man that knows the difference between, you know, what's fake and what's real. You know, this is not real. So we are starting a nonprofit, as Byron has helped me with, called the Urban Economics Institute. And to what you said, Sheena, as well as Mr. Turner, the whole goal is not to tell you what to think, but to offer you these other options, expose you to the accountant, to the movie producer, not just the actor. You know, I hear no one talk about Robert Smith. This man paid off 400 young men's tuition. And what did he tell them? Take this opportunity, and like you said, Sheena, he was telling them to go out and do something with this to help your community. I'm giving you a step up. You know, we watched Black Panther, the movie, but do we really understand that the reason they were able to do that is because their land was full of scientists? Mm-hmm. You know, people that are doing things other than just entertainment. You know, and also the appreciation of, as you said, Sheena, of a parent, a teacher, somebody outside the household setting an example for you. You know, and my parents, I love them to death. Me and Edwin grew up together. You know, we had parents that cared. They took parenting seriously. And that should not be pushed to the side like it's nothing because you aren't rich or you haven't, you know, made a song or something. If you have a parent that loves their children and sacrificed to make sure that they have a life and they're protected, we have to reestablish the value of that as well. So I just wanted to share my thoughts with you on how we see things and everything on this show. I want to have fun. I want to keep it real. All of you kept it real. And the whole point is to get out in the community work with these kids, because this is our generation. These are my kids that are out there marching. Okay, I got kids that are 35 years old. My kids are out there. What didn't I do in our generation? What didn't we do to lead to where we are right now? So anyway, that was my little rant.
And it was a very good one.
Yeah. So I just want you to understand what this is all about. I hope you will join me, on future topics and shows. We're not just going to focus on negative stuff. We're going to talk about some positive stuff. We want to get some kids and put them on the spotlight that are doing things, that are doing well. You know what I mean? And Sheena, like you said, I have that hope. I believe we can do it. We can change this. So anyway, that's my deal. So Kat, Mr. Turner, Byron, Sheena, thank you so much for taking the time on this Saturday afternoon to join us on this. For the audience, you can find the show on YouTube. You can email me questions if you have any comments at nextlev2@gmail. NEXTLEV2@gmail. I see you representing those Cowboys. I don't know.
Cowboys.
Oh my God.
You sure? Yeah, hey,
What about them Colts?
you better be careful.
Cowboys. you see the helmet in the background, brother man came.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I don't play around with my boys.
Don't tell nobody else
That's
that.
cool. Hopefully Jerry is gonna watch the show and give us, some props. So you can find us on YouTube at Fully Engaged 421. We'll be the first one that pulls up. That's where this is going to be posted. Join us on the Facebook page, Real to Real on Facebook. And we want to build the show. We want to build the audience. But most importantly, we want to help rebuild our community. That's what this is all about. So I just wanted you all to know that. And I appreciate, again, you coming on and your sentiments. We're going to change this. I don't care what they say. As long as I'm vertical, we're going to work to do something better. So
This is a great panel.
Hey, thank you, man. I thought so.
Had a great time.
I love this.
Enjoyed you guys.
Ladies, thank you.
y'all was awesome.
Byron, thank you, man. I appreciate y'all joining us. I have this afro for a reason, by the way, okay?
Keep it real. Stay real. Black Panther.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Bye.
Bye.